Good night. Yours truly, Professor and Dr. Dolphy Gilpin, continuing on the topic of oncology. And tonight we're going to try to briefly do the basics on certain organs that is affected by cancer. Let's start off on an obstetric and gynecology note, the cancer of the vagina and cervix. So we're starting off tonight with cancer of the vagina and the cervix. See here. So we have cancer of the vagina here. We have squamous cell carcinoma account for 90% of all vaginal cancer. So let's put here now, squamous cells carcinoma account now for 90% of all cancer of the vagina. And squamous cell carcinoma begins in the squamous cell comprising the epithelial lining of the vagina. We won't write that down, so that would just be a verbal note here that squamous cell carcinoma begins in the squamous cells comprising the epithelial lining of the vagina. Secondly, we have the adenocarcinoma. And adenocarcinoma is approximately 7% of vaginal cancer. 7% of vaginal cancer. And it begins in the gland cells that secretes mucus and other fluids. And we won't write that down, but just take a note of it, that this adenocarcinoma, which comprises 7 to 9% of cancer of the vagina, and that this begins in the gland cells that secretes mucus and other fluids. Okay, so that part is just verbal. You want to write that down. So we have vaginal cancer types. Continue. Sarcoma, less than 1%. We have now sarcoma, less than 1% of vaginal cancer. And these will form deep in the wells of the vagina. And these sarcoma are deep-seated, they will form deep within the wells of the vagina. Then we have melanoma, which is less than 3%. Less than 3% of vaginal cancer. And these will occur in the pigment producing cells. Melanoma, less than 3% of the vaginal cancer, and these will occur in the pigment producing cells. Other statistics is that approximately 1 in every 1,100 women will develop vaginal cancer, which makes it 5,300 cases per year. So this is a bit of statistics here. Cancer statistic is that approximately 1 in every 1,000 1 to 1,100 or 1,100 of all women will develop vaginal cancer which makes it 53,000 cases per year. All right, so we have reached out to signs. Now we can also write note that the HPV, human papillomavirus, has been known to be both the source of both vaginal and cervical cancer. Human papillomavirus source or cause vaginal and cervical cancers. Another cause was due to this diastable drug that used to be used in olden times. I don't know why it's not used in this modern gynecology settings. Estradiol, and this usually cause of cancer. No signs and symptoms of gynecologic cancer. So we have signs and symptoms of gynecologic cancers. One, we have unusual vaginal bleeding. Unusual vaginal bleeding is one of the signs of vaginal and cervical cancer. 2, we have uncontrolled vaginal discharge. Three, we have lumps or mass in the vagina, lumps or mass in the vagina. And 4, we have pain during sex. Pain during sex. So those are 4 signs and symptoms. And the sign and symptom for the vaginal cancer goes for also the cervical cancer. So let's just add a bit more for the cervical cancer here. Cervical cancer is a type of gynecologic cancer that starts in the cervix. And the cancer is in the cervix, which is the narrow passage forming the lower part of the uterus or womb. So sign and symptom is the same. And in addition, we could add now that for the cervical cancer, we have periods that become heavier and last longer. So we have heavy menstrual bleeding, and this usually lasts longer. So that is an additional sign now of cancer of the cervix. We'll move on now to, which is a relative of this, endometrial carcinoma. This is cancer of the endometrium, so-called endometriosis, and which is about 60,000 cases of endometrial carcinoma or endometrial cancer. And it's diagnosed each year in the US. Okay, we'll stop there and we'll continue with cancer of the endometrium and in general cancer, gynecologic cancer.